Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Penapple and today I'm doing a pink Tudor home speed build. So, if you're interested in this build, you can download it off of the gallery. My origin ID is penappleYT. So this build was inspired by a dollhouse actually. It was one of the dollhouses that I've been wanting to make for a while. I don't know if I ever will, but I went through this phase in high school where I actually made my own dollhouse. You can get like kits, and so I got a kit and I made the dollhouse and I got all the way up to the point, and it's completely finished except I never like actually put the door on. Like I painted the door and it's all ready, it's just not actually on the build. And I think I bought like little planter boxes and I never put those in, but other than that it's done. I like had furniture kits and so I never finished those, and so then I didn't finish the build. But yeah, so I've always really liked doll houses, and when I was trying to figure out which one I was gonna buy, this one really stood out to me, but it was not a beginner's dollhouse. Like this was like a 6-room with stairs dollhouse, and the one I ended up going with was a 2-room plus attic space dollhouse with no stairs, and so it was really easy. And I mean, it was hard for me because I was a beginner, but I don't think I would have finished the other one. I'm hoping that they'll come out with a quarter scale. So usually dollhouses are like 1 inch to a foot scale, and so I'm hoping they'll come out with 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch to a foot for this. So far I haven't seen it. But yeah, so that's what inspired the sort of arch shape of the doorway. And I've been meaning to do a build like this. I think I've even started one before, but this time I finally got kind of serious about it. And so as I was doing this, I kind of was like, thinking about my Rainbow Farms build and how colorful that was and how much I played with color. And so I was like, other than my sort of girly gamer room, I haven't done like an all pink build. And so I was like, I think it's time. I think it's time to do one. And so oh gosh, the train is coming. I will be right back. Okay, so the train has passed. And if you're wondering, that is the same train that interrupted the Bachelor beach lookout build that I just did. I'm recording these back to back, and so in that one I was like, oh, I don't think it's a passenger train, so I think it'll only sound its horn once, and I made it through the rest of the build without it like interrupting. But then of course it had to interrupt this build. It wasn't enough for the train to just interrupt the first build. It was like, no, both of them. But yeah, so back to the build. So with that roof, I had a little bit of struggles with it, and so there ended up being a lot of different roofing components to this, and one of them even sticks through into like part of the master bedroom, which is super annoying. But I was kind of like almost done with the build and only found that out when taking screenshots, so I was kind of like, nah. But here I am using this sort of chimney to make that where the roof ends a little less awkward, and I really ended up liking how it looked. And it's one of, like, I showed this house to my boyfriend and he was like, I love that diagonal chimney, and I was like, thanks, I'm using it to cover a mistake. Not really a mistake, more of just like an awkward area. But yeah, so right now the build is not looking pink at all. I ended up going back to color everything. I just kind of wanted to get the layout of the windows that I wanted, and and then work from there. So here I'm trying to figure out like how the house was going to be laid out, and the upstairs doesn't really change, and I knew there's downstairs, but it's kind of weird because I thought the master bedroom was going to be on the first floor and that there'd be 2 regular bedrooms, but then the area I planned to be the living room was like way too cramped to actually be a living room. So the master bedroom on the first floor suddenly became the living room, and the living room became an office space, and then one of the bedrooms upstairs became the master bedroom, and then also just like one kid's room. So yeah, but so the living room has an ensuite bathroom, but I think it's still fine. But yeah, I love, this thing is like as cute as a button. It's the bee's knees. It's like all those little descriptors that you use to call cute things. I really loved how it turned out. It's so cute. And I put together my 2 favorite window combinations, which is that little sort of mini arch window with the crisscross up top and the arch there, with another window pressed up right against it. I really love how that looks. And I also love how I kind of added a turret sort of like thing. It's not really a turret, but it's like a little sticks out, and I really like that. But here I ended up flipping those windows the opposite direction because I feel like the stonework on the sort of hatched arched windows looks really fake. Like, maybe that's just me, but like, and I kind of like them, but I'm also kind of just like, they don't really look natural. Like, they don't look like they're supposed to look. And so I just turned it inside out, and I thought that looked a lot better, a lot cuter. And so that's the direction they end up putting them. I really love doing that with windows. I love kind of repurposing them because sometimes they are just not attractive, at least from some angles, I think. And so here I'm having a little bit of difficulty kind of deciding what the layout was going to be, and I'm also now starting to get into some of the pinks, and so I wanted to have a good balance of pink so that you know it's a pink themed house, but not so much so where it's just, oh, she literally just dumped a whole bunch of pink paint all over her build and was like, oh, this is a pink build. So I wanted it to look put together, basically. And so I think it looks good. I loved using this sort of castle sort of stonework that's like hot pink. I love that stuff. I've in the past, before I think I started this channel, I made a pink castle. I don't think I ever finished it though, but I started it. I have, because I first made a starter castle. It was like a starter home that was a castle, and then I wanted to pinkify it and make it a bit more expensive, and I never finished up doing that. But I did post the starter caster. That's what I thought I was about to say. But I did post that to my gallery, so you should definitely go check it out if you're interested. It's really cute. But yes, so one of the things I was a little annoyed with in this build was the archway to the front door. I feel like it's so low, and that really bugs me. I wish we had bigger, like more in between archways. Like, we have archways for the shortest level of a house and the largest level, and I don't know why we don't have one for in between. Like, there's an entire level of floors that doesn't get its own correct sized archway, and that's always bugged me, like, from the beginning. But yeah, this ended up being a very cutesy sort of fantasy build. I love how it turned out. I was a little like stumped on screenshot ideas though, or not screenshots, panoramic shots. For this house, just because it's kind of on a weird lot and there's lots of trees, and so that made the angles harder. But, you know, I think it worked out. And so for here, I'm starting in the kitchen, and I hadn't really thought about it, but there aren't any really like pink countertops. Like, there's the sort of really modern looking ones, but that's more of like a hot pink or like a magenta color with black, and that's not the look I was going for. You know, I was going for something that was like a lot fresher, you know, not like Hot Topic. Like, I wasn't looking for pink and black. I was looking for like light colors, pink and white. But doing this house all in pink really gave me some leeway to use like wallpapers that I haven't ever used except for in children's bedrooms, like the floral print in the kitchen. And I thought that was so much fun. I really, really enjoyed using that there. I never thought I would. Sorry, I'm like a little out of breath. I like talk way too fast when I'm recording. I like get like really out of breath. That was attractive. But yeah, so here I'm trying to figure out the coloring, and I didn't want all the rooms to look too homogenous. I wanted them to like differ at least a little bit in character. And then this room was a little awkward with the shape for those turrets. I had a little trouble later on with trying to actually put furniture in there. So I ended up kind of like, we'll do that later. And so I started working on this bathroom, which is also a bit of an awkward shape. But I don't know if I tested this bathroom. I think I did. I don't know. I've been trying to get into the practice of testing my builds more often. Especially because, like, I find that if I don't, I tend to, like, leave in some glaring errors. And so I've been trying to test them more often. And so usually I do, but I can't remember how well I tested this. Like, I definitely tested some of the spaces, like the living room was really cramped. And so I tested that and it worked. I wasn't sure if it would, but it did. It definitely did. Sorry, I'm like yawn central over here. I'm like yawning every minute. I'm probably infecting all of you with yawns. Have you guys ever heard of that? Like if you see one person yawn, you start yawning. I don't know how universal that is. When I was in Hungary, it's like really, really rude to yawn without covering your mouth. And so I didn't know that. I was like 16 years old. Like, I had no idea. And so I would yawn, and then like my classmates would put their hand over my mouth, and I was always so annoyed. Like, get out of my space. But they were annoyed with me being rude. So it was kind of one of those cultural things that that didn't translate. But here is that living room I was talking about, which even though this was a bigger space, it was still kind of awkward. And so I ended up putting plants behind the sort of TV area. And so, I don't know how good that looked. I thought maybe I could put like a closet type space there, but I ended up, just kind of going for the plants, and hopefully it looks okay. I thought it looked almost kind of like in Howl's Moving Castle when he goes to visit the state like magician person, and she's like pretty much is in a greenhouse, and so there's lots of plants and old like furniture. I thought it kind of looked like that. But yeah, here's the office. And this also gave me a little bit of trouble. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted, where everything would go. But I ended up using that computer there. And I've never used that computer before. Like, I don't even know what that computer's for. I think you get it if you do like the secret agent build. And I don't know if that's a reference. If it is, it's not a reference I get. Like, is it Spy Kids? I don't know. I've only ever watched the first Spy Kids like once or twice, which is a pity. It's a good movie. I just haven't watched it that much. But yeah, here I am trying to figure out what to put there, and I ended up putting in a chess set, and I am sick. I am sick of the chess sets. Like, I feel like we other than this one, like the cheapest chess set, there's no like plain colors. It's all like wood colors. Like, there's no white really, there's no like black, and so it's just all wood. And so I feel like this is the only chess set I can often use, because otherwise the wood tones clash. And so I'm like really sick of it. I really hope that we get more chess sets soon, or at least a new one with more colors or something. That would be really nice. I would really appreciate that. I mean, I always find something to complain about in every build. And so here I'm trying to do the kitchen, and I was trying to go for like a cutesy cluttered look, and I almost forgot a kitchen sink. I really did. I also almost forgot a, what's it called? Trash can. Yeah. But here I am doing the master bedroom, and I love what I did with these little mirrors here. And I thought of using this one art piece later on that I think would have also looked good there, but I thought that the mirrors were a little bit more original, so I went with that. And then I used this computer again because I got a little obsessed with it because I liked it so much. I was like, where have you been all my life? It's so whimsical. Like, I feel like I could never really use that in any of my other builds. But yeah, I had a little trouble with the layout of this room just because I wanted to make sure to fit in that sort of fantastic dollhouse. Which is ironic, I'm realizing now, because I based this build off of a dollhouse and I put in a dollhouse. That's really cool. I actually love that. These dollhouses, though, are huge. They're so big. Like, I do wish they had some smaller ones, again, with the wish list. But as somebody who knows a fair amount about dollhouses, like, most people, like a dollhouse that big would be really expensive, which I think it is pretty expensive, but like it could easily be $1,000, honestly. Especially if you had somebody else make the dollhouse for you. I had a dollhouse growing up, and I think it was pretty expensive. I'm not quite sure. I was a kid when my mom got it for me. I mean, I was like 10, because she always wanted to get me one, but they're really expensive. But one day in Costco, of all places, she found this dollhouse, and it came with all the furniture, and it was like, pre-manufactured. Wasn't the best quality, but it was like, it wasn't one of those like plastic sets, and it wasn't like hyper modern. It was just like a dollhouse, and it had 3 stories and 6 rooms in total, and it had staircases running up and down it. And so my mom got it for me, and I loved that thing. I loved it so much. But yeah, so I did have a dollhouse, but it was for a while, and I always read those books, the dollhouse books where the dolls would come alive and stuff like that. I always loved those. So before I forget, one of the things I wanted to mention is I've started to notice in this build and like my last build that I'm like really heavily relying on plants, and like one of the plants in the master bedroom is actually a compilation of plants, like so I was like even more like plants out. It's like really intense. It's in one of the little turret areas. I think it turned out okay, but like I've been like really into plantifying everything in The Sims, and I think it's because I recently got a couple houseplants, and so far I have 4 of them, and 2 of them have died. Well, one of them never grew. The other one died. The third one is struggling, and then the 4th one I got, it was an entire plant that I bought, and that one is like, I have no idea. I don't know if it's dying. I don't know if it's dying but struggling to live, and I don't know if it's just like on its way out and no amount of care will help it. So I think I'm trying to compensate for that, because I can't keep plants alive. When I was younger, not that much younger, but I grew basil from seed, and it grew, like I started off in a yogurt cup, and it grew like 3 feet tall, maybe like almost, I think 3 was about max, but it was so big, and I loved it so much. And I was living at the dorms at the time, and so I'd have to take it home over break, and so I would like buckle it into the seat next to me, and my whole car would like reek of basil. And so finally it got so big, it was actually kind of starting to scare me. I was like, how big is this thing gonna get? And I got tired of taking it back and forth, so I left it with my mom, who takes care of orchids, and it died. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, maybe like it was its time, or it got sick or something, or maybe she just didn't water it. I don't know, but it died so quickly. And so I think that one experience made me think that I could take care of plants. Apparently I can't, because they're all dying, which is so sad. My boyfriend just like was talking, and he's like, well, I don't really form an emotional connection to plants like you do. And I was like, oh, you're right. I form an emotional connection. I never realized that. But like I get really invested in them. Like here, like what I'm talking about, like this is like a sort of gardening table area, and it's like covered with plants. I like used almost every single plant in the like game, and so that's really fun. Like I want to start doing a few more base game builds, just because I like use everything. I use everything from all the different packs, and I feel like that's unfair to people who don't have all the packs, because like I think it's really reasonable to not have all the packs. I mean, I think it'd be like easily over like $200 even to have all of the content, and so I think that's really unrealistic to assume that everybody has that content. So I think in the future I'm going to try and do a couple more of those. But here I'm working on the outdoor space, and I think the plants really added to the sort of like fantasy, sort of whimsical feel to the house. And I used a statue which I love, and this build actually inspired my next build, which is sort of a outdoor bedroom. So that's all I'm going to say on that, because I kind of want to keep it under wraps. But yeah, so I hope that you guys are really going to enjoy that one too. But yeah, we are coming up on the end of this build. There will be screenshots at the end. If you enjoy this build, feel free to leave me a like, a comment, or subscribe. You can also download this off of the gallery. My origin ID is penappleYT. Oh, I had one last thing to say. So I showed this house to my boyfriend, and he said this. But how is the person going to live in the house if there are only 2 doors? 2 doors, like Tudor. So I just want to share that with you all because that was a terrible pun and a terribly beautiful pun. But yeah, I hope that you guys are all having a good day. The screenshots are coming up soon, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!